Coming to you from the Strings and Things studio in Ventura, California, this is the Strings Unraveled podcast, book club thingy. Yeah, we're talking about books today, and it's going to be great. We're keeping that.
Okay, so today we're talking about, Karin, do you want to take it away since this was your pick?
Yes, so this was a book called Such a Fun Age, a novel by Kiley Reid. It came out in end of 2019. It was her her debut novel. And I gotta tell you, I want to read more from this author because it was such a great read. I enjoyed it so much that I read it twice.
Yeah, we need to push this book because it's from 2014.
No, 2019.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It is set in 2000.
Yeah, it's set a couple years back, but it came out last year.
Because I'm like, it's only in hardcover.
Yeah.
We need to push this book if it's been out for 5 years.
No.
Okay,
1 year.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming in softcover soon.
Less than a year. Yeah, and the audiobook too. Ooh, I loved it. So here's a synopsis. Let me grab that for a moment. So it tells the story of a young black woman who is wrongly accused of kidnapping while babysitting a child and the events that follow it. Oh boy, let me put a little more. So Alex Chamberlain is a blogger and a public speaker who has moved from New York City to Philadelphia for her husband's job as a television anchor. Alex hires Amira Tucker, a 25-year-old African-American college graduate, as a babysitter to care for her 3-year-old daughter, Briar. When Alex asks Amira to take Briar with her to a local supermarket, Amira is accused by the store's security guard of kidnapping Briar. Amira explains herself but is freed only once Briar's father shows up. The entire incident is taped by a bystander, Kelly Copeland. Shaken, Amira has him email her the video and delete it from his phone. I'm going to stop there because there's just so much more to it. I don't want to tell the whole story because it's... Should I tell the whole story?
How much longer is the synopsis?
Oh, yeah, it's like 5 more paragraphs, but you get the gist of it when we talk. I don't want to spoil everything before you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think the agreed upon rules is if you're listening to our podcast, then
there are spoilers.
They're going to be spoilers.
Yeah, they're going to be spoilers.
So don't come into listening to this if you don't think we're going to spoil it, because you should read the book first.
We're going to spoil it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I got to keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
So when
Alix. When she says her name, she
yes.
overpronounces
Alix. Though that's not the truth. That's a spoiler.
It's her current truth. That's important, I think.
Yeah.
She lives in her current truth.
Which is a fantasy world.
Anyway. Don't we all live in a fantasy construct?
She takes it to a whole nother level.
Don't make me defend Alix, okay?
When Alix hears of the incident, she is shocked and tries to treat Amira better, including offering her a higher pay. Meanwhile, Amira runs into Kelly again and the two start dating. That Thanksgiving, Alix invites her and Kelly home for dinner. Only she said Alix does not know that it's Kelly Copeland. Upon meeting, they realize that Alix was Kelly's high school girlfriend. Later, Kelly tells Amira that Alix is a racist and indirectly caused a black student scholarship to get canceled. Amira continues working for the Chamberlains. Alix tells Amira that Kelly is a racist and fetishizes black people. Determined to show that she has Amira's best interest at heart, Alix gains access to Amira's email and leaks the video of the grocery incident. To Amira's shock, it goes viral. Believing that Kelly has leaked it, she breaks up with him. Alix comforts her and offers her a full-time job as Briar's nanny, which she accepts. Alix also arranges an interview with Amira and herself on local television. And actually, I'm going to stop there because we're going to talk more about it.
All right.
So, I love this book. I love everything. Wow. This is the kind of book that I started yelling at people.
I was yelling at people in my car when I was listening to it, but I didn't love this book, if I'm honest. I thought it was slow. The audiobook was like 10 hours long for like not a whole lot of story that happened. And it was entertaining, but I felt like there was so much fluff that it kind of got distracting because I kind of like forgot what was going on. Because like the inciting incident happens on like page 2. And the climax of the book happens on like the very last page. There's not a lot of like wrap up at the end or anything. There's like a couple paragraphs kind of, of what happens to the characters afterwards. But I didn't actually read the epilogue. Well, there wasn't one. It was just like,
but you kind of
what happened to the people.
But it kind of set it up just before the boom mic drop moment.
It just took a long time. I felt like to get there,
because I'm listening to it at 1.5.
Oh, I was too, but still.
I listened to it at normal speed.
It was so slow at normal speed.
I did enjoy the performance of the audio.
Yes, I did too.
So I didn't want to run through that on this particular book.
It was a book that I had wanted to read. It was on my list of books to choose, so this could have been my choice. So it's not like, it sounded interesting. And it was entertaining enough that I finished it, I just found the characters to be not that enjoyable of people, apart from...
there's some horrible people here.
Well,
You're more gracious about
well, I think there is some complexity here. And I think that there's actually, in that elongation of getting to things, because I agree that I think it's like, boom, and then, slow, and then boom.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's sort of how life happens, I guess. It's a little more representative of,
I guess it's not just
of the flow of life.
Yeah.
And there was, like, a structure to the book, because it takes you through 1 year of life, basically. Well, not exactly.
No, it was, like, 6 months.
It's September to just before Christmas or something.
Or it goes into January, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out, too.
Because there's September, because she was wearing an appropriate outfit for the weather. Everyone needed to know that. And then... Thanksgiving, and then you're probably right that it was January.
It was something like that.
But Alix is interesting, the way that they build her up and show her personal point of view, and then show us her inner self. I think that Kiley, the author, wrote it in such a artful way that I was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's the ideal of like what a lot of people are striving to have their work lives look like, and let her speak, wow. But, is there really any substance to what she did? Like, that kept nagging in my brain. But she's so successful. She has this, like, thing.
They're just like a lot of influencers are successful like over
the
nothing.
BS of Instagram. What, do you have real success, right?
Right.
And then, but the only character that I kind of liked was our heroine.
Yeah.
I think that Amira, what I really loved about the tension in Amira's character is that even though she seems like lost and afloat in her direction, what she's going to do in life, she always knows her true north. Like, she knows when she likes something, doesn't like something, when she's not going to let something bother her, and when it has, because it has no real weight in her
and
decision.
She's well aware of the fact that she's kind of like in trouble with the direction her life is going.
Yeah.
And she knows she has to get it together.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of people would have been like, they have this part-time job now, it barely pays the bills, but like it's hard to think about what's going to happen next, so maybe I'll just stay here and make it worse, because it's like if she doesn't get out now, it's going to be worse later on.
She teeters,
but she's aware of it. Yeah.
But she is aware. She's very self-aware.
And she doesn't like for anybody to tell her what they think she should be doing. She's like, I know I should be doing the XYZ, whatever.
She knows her.
She's aware of her situation in life, I think.
It's not just the awareness of situation. It's her, like, that inner self. She has these, like, these very, like, measured responses to everything. Like, even when the security guard is, accusing her of nothing, like she's still actually, even though she's embarrassed by what this outburst of foul language, she's still being very measured and aware with him. So she's just has these off the cuff responses to what happens around her and to her, that she never loses her true self.
There's even points in the book where she talks about, like, what I would normally say in this situation is this, but what I said is this.
Yeah.
So I think you're right that she does know exactly what she thinks about everything.
Yeah.
I feel like she was exhibiting a remarkable amount of restraint in that grocery store because she's conscious of this small person that she just adores and loves. And she might be the only person in the world who really cares and understands. There's a child by the name of Briar, and I think she's definitely a child on the spectrum, or just she's just wired differently. And she might not ever. I love how there was a comparison and contrast with Briar versus some of these other children who fall in line with what they're taught. It's not that I'm not even saying that right. It's they learn how to socially behave and control themselves in a certain way, but they lose some of that child curiosity in becoming little mini social constructs.
For me, she falls into the category, like, the trope of the, like, overly precocious child, which happens in, like, almost all media. Like, the main character's daughter or whatever is always really overly precocious in a way that's like, that's not a real kid. And so, yes, she was cute and we all liked her, but, like, that's not a real kid.
Briar is a real kid. That was my childhood. That was me as a child. I was very precocious.
In the not that I'm saying,
I had no. There are children out there that don't have that. Their brains just are not wired to hear how they're talking loud, or their volume, or why is it wrong to ask this question, or.
No, I totally understand that. I don't know if I agree with the assessment that she was maybe on the spectrum. She could have been. I don't think that they really talked about that.
They didn't talk about that. That was my... I recognize parts of how she was written, and I don't know that the author even meant to write her that way.
Yeah, it just came off to me as like falling into that trope, which is something that, like, once it was pointed out to me, I'm like, yeah, every kid in every TV show is like that, you know? But she was a little bit different, you know?
Well, I take issue with the, like, outsider coming in and loving your child more than you could.
Right.
Like we do get a peek into Alix's inner life, so she is an untrustworthy character, but I don't like that idea being presented. Like, nobody loves your baby more than you do.
Right. And I don't think Amira had a place to tell her.
That's not true for every mother, but I think that Alix is not so flawed that she doesn't love her daughter. Right. Like that would be an Amira flaw, really, that she thinks she loves her daughter more than
Amira did note that there were times when Alix wasn't being watched, where she had these really strong, great bonding moments with her daughter. But I think her daughter is just so different from what she wanted her to be, and also how I get the sense that Alix was a avid, staunch rule follower. You know, and was taught how to behave in social structures so early that she's tired and fatigued that her daughter's not getting it. And you're right, but Amira does spend a lot of hours in the day with her daughter too.
I guess the author amplified that this was the tension for me the whole way. Like, nobody knows. And this is so true of life. Mm-hmm. The author did a good job of keeping the boundaries in that no one knows what anyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
Like Amira is aware that Alix wants this friendship with her. Okay. So that's the one inner life thing that is so blatant that, because basically Alix throws herself at Amira for a friendship.
Right.
It's almost stalkerish.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you hear the way she thinks about it in her inner dialogue. It's like, you could, not that you could relate to her, but like you've probably been in the situation where like, I really want to be friends with this person. Like, how can I make them be friends with me? Like when you were like in high school or something, that's kind of how she thinks. Or like middle school, you're like, that's a cool girl and I want to be friends with that cool girl. Like, how do I get her to be friends with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
totally.
That is a good observation about Alix's character, is how she really progressed from her high school maturity.
Yeah.
Which maybe not. Which a lot of human beings do not ever get any more mature than when you knew them at 17.
Right.
I did find it delicious, like absolutely delicious. Ate up every morsel of the Thanksgiving dinner. Mm-hmm. Because you guys were present for my main high school boyfriend coming into the shop. It wasn't anything like that. It was not as wrought as Kelly and Alix's relationship. But it's real weird when your boyfriend appears, ex-boyfriend from high school appears in your life.
That is true. But the way that she talks about it, like she's been thinking about this moment for the last 15 years, right? It's like, yeah, we all kind of think about that a little bit, but like she's like obsessive about it.
She's obsessive.
But she knew the truth before the last day of high school.
But she's convinced herself that that's not the truth.
So that's part of that wrap up is we have this private moment with Alix, who is cleaning all the lockers at the end of her senior year, and she finds that the letters and many of her letters got stuck in this void in a locker, and that
Robbie had access to them.
That letter did most likely fall into Robbie's.
But she took the attitude of, well, I can't. Coming out and telling the truth isn't going to change anything.
She made that decision at that moment, but has convinced herself in the 15 or 20 or however many years past that that's what actually happened.
Yeah. But that's how people are. Like,
I don't think that scene was her remembering that time. I think it was just the author giving us the
one
glance.
of those rare, because we don't get that. Like I said minutes ago, like the author is very good about keeping the boundaries of not letting other characters know, but she lifted that fourth wall for us as the reader to know the truth of it.
But to both of them, they know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And they're both completely convinced, Kelly and Alix,
yes, that
they are right.
And they are, though.
They're both right.
They both prove each other's accusations right, right? You know?
Yeah. Which goes to show, do we really change? Do our persons really change from who we were in high school? We get older. But in both of these cases, Kelly really didn't change. Yes, he idolized the really cool kids who happen to be black, and he still does.
Well, so, I mean, that's what Alix accuses him of.
I think they're both right, you know. Alix is right that he likes to try and, you know, find himself fitting in with black people because he thinks that they're, you know, for whatever reason, he thinks they're cool, he thinks that he wants to be like them, whatever. Like, he kind of collects them as friends and girlfriends, right? So Alix is right, and then, you know, Kelly is also right that she hires black people to make herself look better.
Yep.
So I have a question.
Now, I want to rewind on that. I mean, I'm gonna tread carefully. The author makes a point of the fact that there was no pictures to go with her intrigue of wanting to choose Amira.
Right.
And that. And again, this might be like a lie that Alix is telling herself about why she wants to choose Amira. Mm-hmm. But she is pretty clear that she chooses Amira because she doesn't know who she is. And she doesn't know.
That true. She did hire her not based on what she looks like.
I mean, her choice to choose a black woman over any other.
That might have been like an unconscious decision. She just picked her. But it's... I think that she falls into the category of like the white savior who thinks like, I'm going to be friends with Amira and we're doing so many things for you. Can't you see all that we've done has been for you? We're here to help you. It's like, she didn't ask for your help.
Alix does this thing that irritates me so much. Alix never thinks about how Amira has an amazing family. She has like a wonderful, accomplished family. Yeah.
Yeah. Supportive.
She never learns about Amira's family and that Amira has this other support system just because it's not visible.
Right.
And so she does the same thing Amira accuses her of. Alix is thinking, in whatever warped way she has created her reality, that she is the one to help.
Yeah.
Well, like when she went to Amira's apartment. But before we go back there, to hiring her, there's something about names, though. You don't think she saw the name Amira and had
I don't think I would guess that was necessarily a black person. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Or it could be a different... It seems like an ethnic name, but not specific to a particular demographic. So, anyway,
Amira?
I feel like I could see a
my
micro name
daughter's-
Amira.
Yeah, like, you could easily turn my daughter's name into Mira.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it could be, but
she's white.
Mir.
Yeah, that was so cute.
But
I just did Kelly's thing.
what?
Say the same word 3
Oh
times.
yeah.
cool.
Oh.
That's like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine thing too. Cool.
Yeah, right. I do that, but I hated hearing it. In the
Yeah.
books.
Hey. Wait. Stop.
No.
Okay, so where was I going with that? Oh,
Going to her
she
apartment.
has her own. I think she has her own unconscious biases.
Everyone
She assumes that. I think she assumed that one, because Amira was black and her babysitter, that she automatically was not in a good place. And I think some of that comes out when she sees her apartment. It's like, oh no, don't touch that, dearie. Oh no, don't sit there.
Yeah.
Which, she had all kinds of judgment on Amira's place. But I wonder if she also pretty much had that because of where she lived, like back in high school, where she lived versus where most of her. I get the sense that she didn't really have friends in high school.
Yeah, they didn't really talk about it like she did.
Yeah, she said. I mean, she tried to loop Kelly into when she was like accusing him of social climbing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we weren't the popular ones, or we didn't run in Robbie's crew.
Right, they weren't the popular kids. And I would argue that she doesn't really have any good friendships as an adult. She has a group of friends, but like from all their conversations and stuff, you can tell that it's
shallow.
Yeah, her friends aren't amazing people either.
No.
They're all
Alex, this is coming from a
Oh
place
my god!
of love.
Oh my god!
Please don't take this the
Oh
wrong
my
way. Please put that down.
Right, like
Step away from.
I'm glad you bring that up because
her friends were infuriating.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
If
And
you guys
especially-
told me I needed to go on a diet, we wouldn't be friends anymore.
Yeah, I know. They talk so much in this book about like being however many pounds over baby weight, which is like, so like, who cares? Number one, who cares? But also like, why do you have to tell me so many times? It's like, I get that that's something that she is like so obsessive about, and it's such a big deal to her. And
I think it helps to paint her and what she values.
Going back to the Thanksgiving scene, her friend, what was her friend's name? The other black woman, Tamara. When she's talking to, she's basically Alex. Like, they have the same viewpoint, except that she thinks that she can help Amira in some way, even though Amira never asked for anybody to help her.
No, but I
Tamara
think
grilling her.
I know. It's like, what are you doing with your life? What are we doing next?
my
Okay,
God.
let's help you out.
Who
Let's get
are
you into grad
you?
school.
But
I met you 2 minutes ago.
But I think she's thinking as a fellow black person, oh girl, you're not representing us, and I have all this education. You have an education, and you're wasting it.
Sure, she might have been.
She has
thinking
all
that way.
kinds of judgment.
But she never really, like, we know that Alex's help and support is very surface and not realistically helpful. She reminds me of like a lot of people treat others this way. Like, you satisfy a need in my life and facilitate a need in my life, so that is where I want to keep you.
Right.
So by offering Amira a full-time position, even though that is exactly what she needed professionally, in a sense, Elise is not. Yeah, she's not serving Amira and Amira's life direction.
No.
She is using Amira to facilitate her life direction, and she's a user, right?
And she's controlling Amira by keeping her closer, by offering her something she knows she needs, almost so that her friendship she'll be indebted to her in friendship.
Right.
Like, you owe your friendship to me because I'm making your life better.
And she doesn't necessarily say, I mean, when she offers it to her, it's like, we just love you so much. We want you to be part of our family. She says so many times that she's part of their family. When
That's one of those negators of Amira has a real family.
Exactly. And she tells her so many times, like, oh, we just love you so much. But then, deep down, she's saying, like, isn't it great that I'm helping you? Yeah. She doesn't say that to Amira until Amira calls her out and it's like, I'm not going to do it. And then she yells at her. She's like, can't you see all these things that we're doing for you? Everything we've done is for you. We just love you so much. Why can't you be, like, appreciative of all the things that we do for you? It's like, I didn't ask you to do those things for me.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm offering you my saviorship. Why aren't you grateful?
Well, this is a truth kind of in life.
Yeah.
And I don't always... I'm aware of this. That when you look at a situation, you jump in and you do the thing that you think is needed, that might have nothing to do with the help that someone needs. Like, when you say when you, like, force help on someone, you... negate the fact that you needed to ask them what they needed and then find out what they needed and then do one of those things on that list. That's how you help someone.
Helping people requires communication.
Yeah.
If you're just forcing your help upon someone based on your own judgment without communicating to that person, hey, are you okay, for one thing? And if not, can you tell me what you would like help in?
Yeah.
It's not the same as, I'm going to shower you with what I think is best for you. I'm going to make decisions.
When really I'm just facilitating what I need.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think about,
making myself feel better for helping you.
What Alix could do, like what Amira would help her, like ask for help. Like, I don't know what Amira needs from Alix at all, except to see her kid, you know? She loves Briar.
I had this like daydream as I hoped that Amira would find something that maybe she could like reason with them and say, hey, could I take Briar to the park once a month or something?
Yeah.
But after what Alix does, no way. Now we're doing pretty good, but I might ask a couple questions. Starting back to the beginning, the opening scene of the supermarket was a smart way, it says here, for the writer to illustrate everyday racism without any preamble. Did it succeed in setting the tone for the socio-political themes the plot would eventually tackle?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it did. I mean, you see videos like that surface on the internet all the time.
Supermarket Karin there. And I mean Karin in parentheses, not I'm Karin by birth, not by choice.
Why isn't she Becky? Why didn't Becky?
You know what?
Becky was the 90s.
This is a total like offshoot of this conversation, but there's this amazing podcast called Decoder Ring, and she just did an episode about the Karin and like how that came to be. She mentions the Becky of the 90s and how it has like morphed into the Karin of now. Okay. It was a fascinating conversation and you should listen to it. I just learned all about that yesterday.
Right. How timely.
I understand because all these, I mean, whether there was a real Karin or not, the generation that is freaking out like this is my age. And Karin was a very, very popular name in the 60s to describe that white, fragile... They're like a little... and if I'm offending someone, I'm sorry. If you like this kind of dog, I don't make any beefs about it either. They're like... I can't think of the name of it. Is the
little yippy dog is what you're going for?
Yeah, but there's a specific breed that I really hate. Well, whatever.
I don't know.
We'll just leave it there. The little tiny yippy dog that has to bark, 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 bark.
Now you offend no one. Or all yippy dog owners.
Yeah.
Well,
I think all yippy dog owners are well aware of what they have.
But you know how it is. A big dog doesn't bother to woof at you. They know their size. But the insecurities of the little tiny yippy dog that has to bark and bark and bark at you. That's what Karens are. They're the yippy dogs of my generation.
But I think that it was a very successful scene. How it goes from completely benign life is happening to amplified misreading and inappropriate accusations. Yeah, I thought it was...
I noticed that when
very illustrative.
When things started really amping up, Miss Karin excused herself.
Did she? I thought she was there to
She's like, No, she
I think she
started
left.
backing off when the strong white male of the fatherhood came in. She's like, "Oh, I guess you guys have this handle. I think
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
back off now."
Would it be?
So, and actually, so that kind of in the supermarket scene, the security guard's suspicions are quenched when Amira calls the toddler's white father. What does that say about the unfairness of people of color still needing to legitimize their existence through the associations with white people in social situations?
I mean, I think in that scene, the child she's babysitting is a white child, right?
Yeah.
And it probably would not have happened if the child looked more like her. But on the flip side of that, if the father of the child had been a black person, I don't think that would have helped a whole lot.
It would not have diffused the
It wouldn't
situation.
have gone the same way, I think, that it did in the book, right? So,
Oh, no, because...
I mean, not every kid looks like their dad. So she could have called the dad and he could have shown up and looked nothing like the kid.
Yep.
And then he's in the same situation that Amira's in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin...
She could have been the mother of that child, but it didn't matter to the security guard because they didn't look like each other.
And if the child did look like Amira, that would have been a whole nother level of, why are you here? You don't belong. Especially dressed like that at almost
like that.
midnight.
Yeah.
That's their attitude.
Kevin used to be terrified that someone would accuse him of stealing Dante because Kevin is a very dark-haired, olive-skinned person, and who is, Italian heritage, but he actually looks kind of racially ambiguous. Yeah, he gets claimed by every Mediterranean adjacent heritage.
When I lived in Fresno, people thought I was Armenian.
Dante was almost blonde and blue-eyed and pink-skinned, and every time Dante threw a fit in the market, he was sure he would get accosted by someone. Not the same, and so some people don't match their kids.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that they should be accosted.
Yeah, especially because they're having fun dancing around in the frozen food aisle.
Bad was happening.
Like if Briar was crying and saying, "I don't know this person," then go up to him and be like, "What are you doing with this kid that says they don't know you?" Regardless of what they look like, but they're having a great time. The lady walks down the aisle, smiles at them, it's like, "Oh, you guys are cute. You're having fun. You're dancing around." She doesn't say anything, but you can tell by the way that she kind of smiles at them that she thinks "Oh, she's cool."
Yeah.
But then she comes back with the security guard. It's like, "I don't think that you two belong together." It's like, they obviously know each other.
The child's... a 3-year-old at that hour of the evening is definitely not going to be with a stranger comfortably.
Well, comfortably.
Comfortably,
yeah.
yes.
Comfortably.
Strangers take people at all times.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, at that hour, they would not be comfortable past bedtime. Okay. When it comes to race relations, did you relate more with Alik's or Amira's experiences? When and how?
Well, obviously, I only have a frame of reference that is parallel to Elisa's, so...
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to better understand Amira's point.
I think I didn't necessarily relate with Alik's, but I could see a lot of people I know that sort of fall into that category.
Yeah.
So I could relate in the way that, I kind of understand that person because I know a lot of those people, That's kind of where I was. And I don't relate necessarily... I did relate to Amira in regards to, her life and her struggle with, trying to figure out what she's doing with her life as a 25 to 26-year-old woman. I was like, yeah, I felt like that at that time. So I did feel like I related more to her in that sense, but not in the question asked in a racial sense. But I definitely know people like Alik's.
In a racial sense, I did not relate to... Actually, I didn't relate to either of them. I knew... I recognized the type, Alik's type, but I was always more in Amira's economic state, so being the helper and the server, the worker person, and how she even could tolerate, I tell you, Amira was a much kinder, more thoughtful person than I ever could be, because I would not have been able to handle Alik's fake sugary.
Well, that's
but
one
she
of
knows,
the
like, I'm not
overtures.
there for Alix. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here for Briar, you know?
Yeah.
She's here for Briar, but at the same time, she didn't. She's. I liked even when she was pushing back on Kelly about. Well, okay, lots of people wear uniforms at work. That's just a thing, you know. But anyway, when it comes to as far as the terms of race relations, I'm not. I don't have the experiences of an African or of a black woman, so I don't relate to that only in the economic sense.
I think the author makes a good point, Anne, like you were saying, to talk about Amira's family and how they're, you know, a successful family of people who, you know, they all have skills and they, you know, work really hard. And so it's not like Amira's coming from a background of, like, being disadvantaged in the financial sense I didn't get, except that she's sort of done that to herself. You know, she's left her family. She doesn't know exactly what she wants. She's kind of a free spirit. She's floaty. So she's the one that's like, well, yeah, I do this part-time job. I do this part-time job. But I think if she wanted to be a successful person like her siblings were and, you know, go to grad school, her family would have supported her and helped her through it. So I think that in the sense of her, like you were saying, like her economic, you know, background, I think that that's just something that, not that she's done to herself, but, you
it's
know.
just her independence as a mid-20s
And
young
she's
woman
okay with
living
it
in a
for
big
the
city.
most part until she figures out that it's not going to work for her anymore.
Yeah. Well, there comes a point where she feels less comfortable because her friends are moving forward.
Without her,
Which I completely identify with that part, actually. There have been plenty of times in my life, like, I have some girlfriends from high school who are insanely successful. And
how do you think that she just is not into technology? Do you think
I love that about her.
Okay, but do you think that comes from, because her family, they're makers and crafters and creators of things, but maybe
because something that I was like,
thinking
why
she's
was
got a
this
phone.
important to bring up?
Social media doesn't cost anything.
She grew up in a deaf society, like in a deaf community.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so I wonder if she just
about
has
that.
a different interaction with media.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
It just sort of seemed like she
that's
just
like
didn't
something
care.
she drops, the author drops, but never like.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. So maybe it speaks to like the uniqueness of her upbringing or the like the insular nature of a specialized community. And the like cocoon that could create.
But maybe
for her.
that's also the compare and contrast with Alix, and she is so hyper about how connecting and texting, and it's almost
maybe it was just a way to compare the two characters and contrast them.
Yeah,
because she talks all the time. Alix does about
Zara and Shauna. They're all into tech, and it's just
okay. Just for 1 second, and I couldn't cast everybody, so I would love some help with this.
okay.
So, clearly for me, Alix is going to be Reese Witherspoon. Ironic that it's one of Reese's books.
Yep.
Or I have to look up her name, but she was Elliot in Scrubs, and the second Becky in Roseanne. So I would be comfortable with either of them being Alix.
I think that Reese is too old.
I think they're both. Well, here's the problem. Well, Reese is a little older than me. I think she's like in her mid-40s now. Because these characters, Alix is my age.
Yeah.
Granted, it's 6 years in the past, but of today. But
right.
Sarah Chalke is the same age as Reese Witherspoon. But we're gonna move through time though. Like,
okay.
So any actress in the last,
right,
20 years or something. I would like Amira to be, is it Halle Bailey? It's going to be the new Little Mermaid. Cause she is like, just as cute as Amira is described. I think that Zoe Kravitz is, what's the other friend? No,
Shauna.
No.
The other friends.
Josepha?
No,
the other one
has to be a cute
Zara.
Latina.
Zara.
Thank you.
Zara. Okay.
No, not Zara. No,
not Zara.
Zoe Kravitz is going to be the like the other friend who has plenty of money. It's Zara is the nurse, right?
Yeah. Shawnee is the...
Shawnee, thank you.
But isn't
I said
Shawnee a white
Shawnee.
person?
No, she's a light-skinned...
Yeah.
I thought she was a light-skinned
Oh, I
black
thought she was
girl.
white.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm wrong.
I didn't think any of the friends were white, just light-skinned.
And then I don't know who Josepha should be. I was sort of feeling, what's her face from,
I'm terrible at this game.
I mean, I really want Reese Witherspoon to just go ahead and be
that's
Elise.
fine.
That's my whole point, actually. Oh, but Kelly,
That
I have
would be
Kelly
awesome.
cast too. Kelly is John Krasinski.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to move through time.
Yeah.
I could totally see that, yeah.
Tall enough, sweet enough, and
Yep.
surfacey sweet enough.
Yeah, I could see that.
But basically, that whole point was I want Reese Witherspoon to play Elise.
Yeah, I think I could probably pick a lot of people to be Elise.
Next.
Okay. Alix thinks that Amira perceives her as the textbook rich white person, while Amira thinks her privileged employer views her with the annoying curiosity usually reserved for an exotic species. What does this say about preconceived notions people have when interacting with someone who do not share their ethnicity?
Well, I mean, how wrong is Amira? Like, Alix is not nearly as self-aware as Amira is. So, sorry, Alix, you might just be what she thinks you are. But yeah, I mean, we all function from a surface assessment of everyone until you know them, but they never really know each other.
Right.
Like-
Alix tries to get to know Amira, but Amira sort of has walls up against her, which is reasonable.
She keeps a hand up.
Well, Alix isn't asking the right questions, sort of.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
know
she
her,
talks about,
you
like,
know?
she never asked me about my family, or, like, she doesn't know anything about my friends. She wants to know, like, you know, why I don't have an Instagram account, and she wants to know, like, what am I doing this weekend, and who's my boyfriend, but, like, it's
And
all...
why is she serving me wine?
it's all very, like,
Expensive.
surface level stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like Alix ever really tries to change, to get to know her that well, you know? But she does find her fascinating, you know?
Yep.
She wants to know more about her, but not too much.
Yep. The amount that serves continuing her point of view.
Yeah.
But I think this often happens with white people, with white women. There's again, of my generation, that they think that just because they want something that they're entitled to know it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like well, you don't know because you don't ask, so let me just ask you. Why? It's like, instead
Or
of
like, it's none of your business. It's like, well, why not? Why can't you tell me that? It's like, it's because
Why-
it's none of your business.
But yet I'm entitled to anything I think of, right? No. Okay. Here's my soapbox. There's a point in the interview. I highlighted it because I saved that page, and she's like, "We respect your privacy." I'm like, I'm yelling, "Oh no, you don't! No, you don't! Nothing about what you say respects privacy."
And
my god!
I love Shauna's scene. It's so wonderful.
Yes, it's so funny. I was hoping, like, it would have been so delicious for Amira to be like, I know you were the one that leaked my video, but she never says
She
that.
never comes
which
out
is
and
like,
says that,
it's
which
not-
is so much nicer. I would have said, really?
I think, like, our paths should never, you know, like,
Come together again. Yeah, that was very satisfying.
That was fun. When I'm reading out about Alix's actions, you should understand. I don't look over the fence in my neighbor's yard. I am such a strong respecter of those kind of boundaries that if someone's phone's open, you don't look at their stuff. You just don't look at their phone. That's none of your business. You certainly don't. If someone were to use my thing and leave their email open, I would close it.
Yeah.
That's all the interaction I'm going to have. I certainly am not going to start scrolling through someone else's email. Such an incredible invasion of privacy.
Yeah, that's none of your never mind.
And yet she seems to say, we really respect her privacy.
It's like going
I'm
through someone's purse.
how do you...
Like if Amira left her purse open, would Alexa feel comfortable just rifling through her purse?
It's like on the show Survivor. You know, there's, you know, everyone has their bag of stuff. Mm-hmm. In the first 10 plus seasons, it was understood you don't look through people's stuff. So when they started rifling through somebody else's bag, and they keep on Survivor, everything inside me says, that's wrong. That is wrong. That is like, that's more than just not respecting someone's privacy. You're now diving deep into somebody else's business without their knowledge.
I think, like you were saying, like, Alix feels like she's entitled to know more about her, but because Amira is keeping her at arm's length, she's like, well, here's a way I can figure out more about you without your permission. You know, she's like, I can look at your phone. So she probably does it once just because she sees a notification pop up. And then it's probably, like, addictive to her to try and figure out more about her because Amira's not giving her anything.
But did she start... I think she started snooping before she started trying to wine and dine Amira myself.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
I think they were parallel behaviors.
But there again, if you're trying to insert yourself in someone's life and they're blocking you, that's your hint. They don't want to... They're just not that into you. Right? And so to circumvent that and go around that is manipulative.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's why I don't like Alix.
Well, you're not meant to.
I'm not meant. I have
Did
no
it
sympathy
change
for
for
her.
you when... So, in the whole book, there's this, like, dichotomy between Kelly's point of view and Alix's point of view in regards to, like, the situation in high school. Alix says that she showed everybody the note, and it's his fault, and he ruined her life. Right? Yeah. And Kelly says, I never showed anybody, they just showed up, and you went crazy, and you ruined Robbie's life. Right?
Yes.
Were you on either person's side? Like, what did you believe to be true? Because we didn't find out until the end that Alix was lying.
To be true.
Like, did you believe Kelly? I sort of was landing in, like, it's probably somewhere in the middle gray area kind of thing.
That is what I easily believed that he might have had the note and showed it to Robbie. Like,
I didn't. I thought
I thought that was in the realm of possibility.
I believe that he never got it.
I think I landed in it was like, it reminded me of the Daisy Jones book where it's like, there's all these different people's point of view and the truth lies in the middle somewhere. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you were supposed to believe until the very end when the author's like, well, guess what? It was
Alix. Never saw it. Yeah, it's all Alix. She's the worst.
I always thought it was Alix because I already had a negative opinion about her because I already thought she was the worst.
Yeah, but I also really didn't like Kelly that much.
No, because...
Like, you could sort of see through... I think Alix's perspective of him wasn't wrong, you know, and I think that when... Is it Alix that, like, goes back through his Facebook page to, like, check him out, and, like, every one of his girlfriends that he has also been a black woman?
That's when it's
and it's like, well, it could be coincidence, or maybe he is exactly what she thinks he is.
So, I mean, both truths bared out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was a nice guy, and he was
a nice guy,
kind to Amira, but
there is a big age difference, too. And I don't think...
I think when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, it's like 7 years.
We do infantilize, which is the interesting thing about examining 25 to 26 in this time. Mm-hmm. We infantilize young adults for a long time.
Yeah.
And she is a grown-ass woman. And really, actually, I think it's a very small age difference.
Mm-hmm.
It feels to me.
No, you and I have a bigger age difference. I think you're just 30 now.
I'm 32.
32. No, you and I are the same age difference.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Not that I would date Anne, but you know.
But
why not? Why not?
Well, because I think James would get real upset.
Yeah. Interesting.
You didn't say anything about it.
I feel like the age difference felt...
It's a smaller age difference, but it's amplified.
So how much was the age difference between Alix and her husband? Because
they never say, actually.
But they do say that he is quite a bit older than her.
Yeah. It's like he looks young for his age.
Right. She says something about how that he is older.
Young.
Right.
Like, well, I think still never say his age.
Honestly, it could be the same thing. There's so many parallels. she and her husband age difference could be somehow the age difference between her and her husband is not a big deal.
Right.
But to her, you're effing
being
my
used.
babysitter.
Yeah, she thinks the whole time that Kelly's using her.
But I
which
also
maybe
think-
he is, but he also seems to actually legitimately like her as a person and care about her, which is more than you could say about how Alix views
But honestly,
Amira. She's using her too.
both Kelly and Alix need to get on with their life. I was like, Amira, that's like whatever. That was high school. You're not beyond that.
I'm sort of on the Kelly team in that, where it's like, I think he is beyond that. I think that
Except
Alix is the one that's still holding on to it.
Except that without even knowing that Alix was Amira's employer, he told Amira that story about this girl in high school that was so awful. He brought up a story
high
from
school is a really like formative time for you. You're going to make some lifelong friendships. You're going to make some lifelong enemies. Or people that you wouldn't associate with, whether enemy is a little too.
And I'm sure that you've told your significant other about some horrible person that in high school.
Yeah, so
but you don't hold on to it as like
active.
Someday, you know, like Alix did. She was obsessive about it. Where I think Kelly was a little more realistic about it. It's like, well, yeah, she did suck. Like, I had this girlfriend and she kind of sucked.
Oh, this is.
And you're like, yeah. Yes. I mean, you know, you've probably told your significant other about some person you knew or a person you dated and they ended up sucking. You know.
I mean, I get sucked back into Kevin's high school drama every 5 to 10 years because we've gone to all of his reunions, not of mine. And so I like a lot of his high school friends. A lot of them are my dear friends now too, and we're just right back in the middle of his high school social hierarchy
it's
every
easy
5
to,
to 10
there.
years.
So I've got a couple more questions.
Okay, let's maybe pick like one more.
One more. Oh gosh, okay, which one of these?
Pressure.
Under pressure.
I'm gonna do the last one only because I this is a question I actually thought about. What did you think of the book's title? Did it aptly encapsulate the content of this book for you? If not, what title would you have given to this novel?
I was thinking about that the other day when I finished the book, whereas like I think I was expecting somebody to say that at some point in the book, and that's sort of how you get the title. But I finished the book and I was like, nobody ever said that in the book.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I never could connect the title with the book in a way that
I think at like surface level you're supposed to think she's a babysitter, Briar's at such a fun age. But I think it's about Amira.
It's about 25
I thought it was
to 26.
a 25-year-old being such a fun age.
Yeah,
Except
at base level it's about
age.
It's about, I mean, I think you're supposed to believe it's about a 5-year-old, but then I think it's about a 25-year-old, and it is fun to be 25, you know? But she's not having a fun time all the time.
That's a very condescending phrase. Such a fun age,
right?
You know,
you wouldn't say that to a 25-year-old in that way. You would say it to a 5-year-old, but you might say something like, "Oh, enjoy it; it's so fun," or like you're probably, you know, there's different ways to say exactly the same thing.
Oh, that's such a fun age. You don't have very many responsibilities, and your life is so free. Yeah, that's the kind of attitude.
Oh, I definitely looked at you that way.
Oh, I know. I would. You wouldn't say it like that.
No.
I will say it.
But I would like look at you being a young 20-ish, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's so cute."
I understand. I do that to people now.
I
have a little cousin. I mean, he's not really my cousin, but he is. That's getting married, and I'm like, you guys are just so cute.
Oh, yeah, my young coworker who just went from 25 to 26. I'm like, you're an adult now.
Yeah,
I'm not calling you a kid anymore.
You got to pay for your own health insurance.
Yeah, like I mean, he's been doing that already, but it's like you're not a kid. Get your
life
life together.
It's funny how that changes because that used to be 21.
Yeah, I know.
Now
That's
it's like
what I'm
26.
talking about. It's just like, and now you know I have a kid who's turning 20. Like, he's still a kid.
Oh yeah, he's still a kid.
Yeah. Which is not how I would have looked at it at 20. I keep trying to remember when I talk to him about what he's planning or doing. Like at 19, like I was 20. His mom, so I really felt like an adult. So, and I couldn't wait to be 20 and not be a teenage mom anymore.
And can you like even fathom him as a parent?
I know.
Yeah, isn't
it's
that
forbidden.
Nuts? But I'm sure that your mom felt the same way.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, it's funny to think about when, like, how you feel at a certain age, and then when you look back at people being that certain age, and you're like, I was talking to my mom about that the other day, about somebody getting married and how old they were, and I was like, I was 24 when I got married, which seemed like a decent age.
Yeah.
But when I think about myself at 24, I'm like, who let me do that? Why did you guys let me get married? I mean, nothing bad happened, but I was dumb when I was 24.
Yeah,
and James was dumb when he was 24.
I was raging about something when something in a family member did, and I was raging about it, and Lois was involved, and I'm like, you've known me since I was the age of this person. Haven't I grown up a lot? I know this person needs to grow up a lot.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's weird. Well, Kevin and I were 25 when we got married, and
that's how old we were.
And then it's like, where are all the grown-ups? Oh no,
we're the grown-ups. I need an adult. Yep.
Which those feelings have left the building. I did remember it to him recently of like, he said, why did we decide blah, blah, blah? I'm like, remember that time when we remembered that we're the grown-ups now?
Yeah.
That's when we decided this idea.
Well, thanks for choosing the book, Karin.
Yeah, it was an interesting book, and it was something I wanted to read. It left me feeling a little unsettled. It
was entertaining enough that I enjoyed listening to it, but the more I thought about it, and in the moment, sometimes I was like, I don't think I like this. You know?
Well, I came across I hate doing this. I try not to read reviews or get other people's opinions.
At least until after I've read the book.
Yeah, I came across one which was like, nothing happened in this book, and there was no one likable, and I'm like, oh.
Sometimes I like reading reviews after I've read the book because it can sort of solidify how I'm feeling. Like some more eloquent person can be like, I'm like, yeah, that is how I feel about this book. You're right.
In the middle, it was a mistake.
Yeah. Yes. Wait till the end.
I'm like, wait, nothing's going to happen for a long time still? There's 5 hours left.
Yeah. It did go pretty fast. I was listening at like 1.5 speed.
No, I was entertained, for sure. The audiobook performance is very, very good.
I really liked it.
Yeah. And I'm glad I read it, and I think I would read more from this author.
Yeah. And not that it matters, but like it's got such a gorgeous cover.
It does have a beautiful cover. I would wear that fabric all day.
It's beautiful.
Long.
I was thinking the other day I went to Barnes & Noble to like look around at books, and it's real easy for me to like...
And a key. What's the key for?
I don't know. I choose books like I choose a bottle of wine.
Oh, because the wrapper
I'm like, this is a pretty label. I'll read this one.
Well, I mean...
Now, why do they say a novel? Why do they have to tell you it's a novel? Such a fun age. A novel.
Know. That's probably some kind of tradition in branding or something.
Oh.
Well, my friend who is a cover designer.
I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday because I looked at all the books that were on my Goodreads list of like things I'd like to read, and I wasn't really interested in any of them. So I went to like the new releases section of Barnes & Noble, and some of the books I chose were like debut novels by these authors. So not all of them are. A couple of them on my list don't have audiobooks yet, so there's a chance that we might actually read the book. I'm sorry. But I have 5 in my little basket here. So I'm picking... Okay, so this one's called Oksana, Behave.
Okay. Like Oksana Bayul?
It is an audiobook by Maria Kuznetsova. I have a little synopsis here that says... This one I picked because the cover was funny.
Yeah.
When Oksana and her family moved from the Ukraine to Florida, begin a new American life. Her physicist father delivers pizza at night to make ends meet. Her cranky mother...
How do you spell Oksana?
Oksana. Her cranky mother sits at home all day worrying, and her flamboyant grandmother relishes the attention she gets from all men.
Oh my goodness.
All Oksana wants is to be... That's why I picked it up.
I was like, love it.
She wants to be as far away from her family as possible, to have friends, and to be normal. Although she constantly tries to do the right thing, she keeps getting in trouble. As she grows up, she continues to misbehave, from someone accidentally maiming the school bus bully, to stealing the much-coveted key to New York City's Gramercy Park, to falling in love with a married man. After her grandmother moves back to the Ukraine, Oksana longs for the motherland that looms large in her imagination, but is a country she never really knew. When she visits her grandmother in Yalta and learns about her romantic past, Oksana becomes comes to a new understanding of how life without causing harm to the people she loves, but will Oksana ever quite learn to behave? It sounded cute, and I liked the cover, so that's why I picked it.
I think the cover is
I think I don't think this is a new book, because this was actually on the table of like paperbacks. So it might have been out a couple years ago. But there you go.
All right, I'm excited.
Cool. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode and that you enjoyed the book. Let us know.
The little puppet of Babushka.
Let us know what y'all thought, if you liked the book, or if you have any suggestions maybe of like other books we should read.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other recommendations of things you've been reading or listening to?
I am 29 pages away from finishing The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Which is
the new one?
The Suzanne Collins book, which is a prequel to The Hunger Games. And I mean, it's been a slow march to Darth Vader. We all know what President Snow is going to turn out like. It's the story of Coriolanus Snow and his mentorship in a Hunger Games. But the last part is kind of great, and I'm in the end of that, and it's great. And I'm reading the actual physical book. Yes, go books. And I'm listening to a dramatization of a comic book.
That sounds fun.
It's Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, and it's so fantastic. I mean, everything Neil Gaiman I love.
So it's a digital comic book?
Well, it's an Audible.
Oh, an Audible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but the dramatization of it is like Taron Egerton is one of the characters.
Can't listen to it.
It's just for a minute, but I think he comes back and doing another voice. It's just very good. Very good.
I haven't listened to anything else.
It's really...
I've been listening to podcasts mostly, and I would recommend Decoder Ring. Right. She takes like a cultural mystery or like a weird thing and like breaks it down, like where did the Karin come from. I just listened to one about
where did the Karin come from?
About unicorn poop and cute poop in general. Like, why is that a thing?
Why is that a thing?
It's really great.
My sister found a shirt that said I pooped today, and it has like a stick figure of somebody throwing their arms up, and her significant other is not into wearing it, and I was like, send it over here. She's like, I'm not buying you an I pooped today shirt. So I had to go looking for a GIF or emoji of crying pile of poop.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that
it probably wasn't that hard to find.
No, I think maybe I was too specific in my expectations. What did I find? I'll show you guys real quick. Oh no, I did find it. It's streaming tears. Poop? Yeah.
Yep.
It's the poop emoji streaming tears.
That's hysterical.
She recommended that I eat more fiber if that's something I celebrate each day. All right.
Well,
next book. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm gonna give what I've been reading.
Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, Karin.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh.
I do because I did that enough. Okay, so I saw that you were reading Conjure Women. I'm enjoying that.
Oh yeah,
that's also good.
I haven't picked that up in a little while.
I read Real Men Knit by Quanda Jackson. Really entertaining, kind of fun. The thing I'm really enjoying is called Bright Boulevards, Bold Dreams, and it's about the story of Black Hollywood.
Ooh.
It is really good, and it's completely nonfiction. The story behind how Hollywood started was actually started with the black culture and then got taken over. So
what?
Yes.
That doesn't happen in every entertainment medium.
In every industry ever?
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Rock and roll what?
So Bright Boulevards, Bold Dreams is by Donald, and my little check mark is, let me see, Donald Bogle. Bogle? Look it up. And then the other one is The Bone Jar, S.W. Kane. That was one of those free last month on
Audible.
Well, no, it was not free on Audible. It was free on Kindle. And then I got it, but I decided to wait a couple weeks until the Audible came out, and I did buy the Audible. And and I'm currently it's a murder mystery involving an asylum and a Nurse Ratched character.
Sounds terrifying.
Nurse Ratched's the one who's dead.
Oh, so ghost story. Oh, she murdered. Oh,
Somebody murdered
okay.
her.
She's
Got
murdered.
She is murdered.
Murdered.
Murdered and left at an abandoned mental hospital.
I know that we're
So
like
good.
Obsessions is really for the other cast, but just in the sense of podcast, I started listening to this one, a new true crime one. It is called Park Predators.
Ooh.
And it's about like nasty, terrible murderers who hide in our national parks.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to that. No. I don't want to.
I tell myself I don't want to, but I'm writing this down.
It's
I'm
called here sometimes.
Park
late,
Predators?
Scary times. Park Predators. I got it on Stitcher. I made Kevin like be on the phone with me while I walked to my car after listening to 2 episodes of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right then.
Times.
Well, we'll see you guys in a month for Oksana Behave by Maria Kuznetsova. So read it or listen to it, and we'll see you guys then.
And tell us how you like the art cover.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.